Thank you so much, Åsa. Great to be here. Sina, come on, wave to the guys. So I'll be talking because I have the best voice of the two of us tonight. So Sina and I, and together with a couple of other guys, we founded the Bionyfiken, the Stockholm Biohackers, Swedish Biohackers Association. Sune, do you have the slide upcoming for me, the ones I sent you?
Yes, if you keep talking.
I'll keep talking, no problem. So yeah, what I want to tell you guys is, we'll just go for 10 minutes, and since we're hackers and makers, one of my mottos is don't listen to guys that just stand there and show you slides. Do stuff. So, and I know this is the right audience to do that stuff. So you may be wondering why I have some electrodes on my arm, for example. That will be explained a little bit later. I'll also be telling you what the heck, why you should be wearing cat ears later tonight. So. We're all about experimenting, including putting ourselves under the knife, right? So anyway, biohacking for the win. And if you want to follow Bionyfiken, meaning biocurious in Swedish, there's the Twitter and the Insta handle. Anyway, what do biohackers do? It's a very diverse community of people that do different things. And I'll touch briefly on the different branches of biohacking. So there is one community within this broad movement, which is we call the do-it-yourself biologists. That is people who are particularly interested in lab activities. I mean, biohacking ultimately is derived from the word hacking in the sense of experimenting. So it's not about breaking into systems and stealing something, like some hackers, I mean, in the public definition of what a hacker is. But it's about applying a certain hacker ethic to biological systems. Whereas traditional hackers have been hacking hardware and software, we go for the wetware. And this is sort of the underlying idea of the whole biohacker movement. Quantified selfers, I recognize several of you in here. Quantified self is about self-measuring. It's about, for example, logging your sleep or logging what you eat and then doing tests. What happens if? And you try to apply a scientific method to your self-experimenting, but the sample is always just one person. You don't care so much about the generalization, about insights. You want to know what works for you. Then we have the grinders dimension. You met Jovan earlier. He's a well-known body modification artist in Sweden. This is a fantastic community that for decades have or for centuries have modified bodies with tattoos, piercings, scarification, etc. And this is an awesome community with strong ethic and deep knowledge about the human body. And when we bring these communities together, there are some really cool chemistry happening. The final dimension are, I would say, people who are particularly interested in health. We're probably inspired by professional athletes, but even though you can tell I'm not a professional athlete myself, I'm still interested as an office worker. How do I optimize my performance sort of in an office environment? How do I stay alert during the whole day? And yes, it also takes, just like for a real athlete, right nutrition, monitoring my sleep, supplements, and sort of trying to hack my own health to stay alert for a long time in the office. Anyway, coming to a key insight for us biohackers, it's the fact that biology is becoming IT. I'm sure you've seen this curve. This is the price to analyze the human genome, fallen from hundreds of millions of dollars just 15 years ago, now down to the price of about an old car on Blocket, 7,000-8,000 kronas. This trend is continuing. We believe that in about 5 years, it'll cost less to flush your toilet than to run your whole genome. And what does this mean? Cool, when we'll be able to analyze everything in just a few seconds. And you can see, in terms of hardware, these machines that used to do DNA analysis 10 years ago, big as washing machines. Now the latest generation is as big as a Snickers. You can really stick it in your pocket. And it's a whole DNA lab. And where will this be 10 years from now? Will it maybe be implanted in our teeth? Who knows? Very exciting future waits. There is a moment in biohacking where we often say that when the day comes when you can have a lab at home, Similar to what happened with computers, say in the 1980s, when it went from something that only companies or organizations could afford to people starting having PCs at home. Here it is. This is a Kickstarter project. This is one of the founders. She visited Stockholm earlier this year, Bethan. They have developed something called the Bento Lab, which is really the size of a bento box, and it's a full DNA analysis lab that you can really have in your kitchen. You can analyze your food, you can swipe your own nose and see what bacteria you have. Is it a virus or a bacteria that is giving you this cold? So I'd like to have that now, but it won't be delivered until Christmas. Anyway, now I'm going to show you some cool hacks. So, for example, modifying the DNA of a plant, making them glow in the dark. It's one of the popular projects among biohackers. So in this picture, it's a tobacco plant, but obviously a lot of people are working on cannabis. One of our favorites is also the Roboroach. You glue a little chip onto the back of a roach, and you put electrodes on the antennas, and you can then remote control a roach by giving it little electric shocks on the different antennas. So there's an app, of course, called the Roboroach app. I mean, these biohackers are skilled. And I love this crew. There's a group called Backyard Brains. They also provide us with these wonderful tools that we have with us today. Sina, maybe you want to help me with a demo? So if you can remote control a cockroach, of course, you can also remote control a human. So what we're doing now is Sina is putting some connectors on his arm. You want to raise your arm just to show? And Sina will be the giver, and I'll be the receiver. This changes in different relationships. So Sina, when you move your arm, let's see what happens. So there should be some lights flashing on this little board here. So okay, so he pushes this into the red when he bends his arm like this. So this is the input he's giving into this nice little board. Now when I turn on this calibrator right here, and then these electrodes will simulate my ulnar nerve, which is the nerve that you know when you get this funny bone, enkestöt in Swedish. So let's see what. I'm gonna turn it down just a little. It's not particularly painful. It's more surprising, really. So we make a lot of jokes about this. For example, you can imagine that the king and the queen of Sweden, well, they're driving in their motorcade, and you know the queen is getting tired. The king says, "Keep waving, darling," so they can use this device. So now you're bending my arm. We can turn it up a little, and if someone want to try this later in the break, you're of course free to do so. So that's still just 40%, and we can put a lot more on. Now what we could do is if I change Sina's... Sina, stop it. If we put it, maybe you can run this claw as well. Can you try? No, something is missing. Anyway, that's live hacking for you guys. So the point being... Thank you, Sina. The point being that this is a funny tech, it's cool to experiment with, and what is our ambition with doing these kind of things is to show that, okay, this is doable. We don't really know what you can do with it, but a group of smart people can probably come up with 100 different uses and applications for this. One idea we've been looking at is to create a suit that gives you electrostimulations on your muscles that helps you do the perfect golf swing. Right, so when you do it perfectly, you don't get any electric shocks. If you keep one elbow too high, you know, you get nudged to take it down a little bit. So that's just one idea. Some further examples, I won't go through them all. Doing our own equipment is also important. So this is a cool thing that Sina did. You know, when you separate proteins, for example, in test tubes, you need a pretty expensive piece of equipment, which is called a centrifuge. Now, you can just download a little template and 3D print a plastic thing like this, and you put it on a power drill. And then you can have your test tubes, your prover, in this, and you can spin them as well. It cost how much, Sina? 20 kronas, right? Instead of less. Yeah, 2-3 kronas. So building our own equipment is also part of the whole biohacker movement. Okay, and then what about using the body and doing body mods? I'm going to tell you some fun examples here as well. Here's from some friends around the world. Here I'm meeting with a guy called Sean from a Grindhouse Wetware, a US-based biohacker group. he's just implanted an electrode full of LED lights under his arm. So in fact, it was Jovan who was just here who did the implant on him. So he has these shining lights under his skin. He turns them on by holding a magnet, and then they light up for 5 seconds. Not sure what you can do with this, but it's pretty cool. Maybe, it's helpful if in the dark you need to find something, you don't want to turn on the bedroom light to wake up your partner, whatever. Fantasy is limited. Frank Swain, a British biohacker, he has hearing aids. He has a hearing impairment. He's hacked them together with a friend who is a sound designer so he can hear Wi-Fi. Now that is a sense for the 21st century. So when he walks down the streets in London, he can hear sort of, and the way it is, the unique IP number of each Wi-Fi is turned into a little melody, thanks to his friend. So he can hear. So there's the Ernst & Young office, right? And like you and I walking in the forest, and there's a cafe on the corner, right? So strong signal, stronger sound, etc. Pretty nice. Here's another project by a group called Cyborg Nest. They do a little implant you put in your chest. It's a compass. So it vibrates when you're facing north, so it trains your body to perceive the Earth's magnetic field. Pretty interesting. This lady over here, she's fantastic. Her name is Moon Rebas. She has a little Bluetooth implant in her arm that vibrates, and it's connected to the global seismographic system of the whole planet. So whenever there's an earthquake somewhere on our planet, her implant vibrates. If it's a stronger implant, of course, it vibrates stronger. So she has a direct physical connection to a whole planet. And this is the kind of ideas that we like to explore. It's also an illustration philosophically of what we want to do ultimately. I mean, what if we can connect our bodies to heavenly bodies? What if we can perceive the whole planet in this way? So I think it's quite amazing. And in her other arm, she has another implant that's connected to the moon. So she also feels the moon in her other arm. And her partner, he has a chip implant in the back of his head where he can hear the SETI signals, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Good hack. Maybe his brain will pick up some patterns that not all these computers do. So we're going there, don't worry. Okay, now time for the vanilla biohack we do here, the chip implant thing. So maybe you guys, do you carry a lot of junk in your pockets like I do? Or like I used to? Keys, swipe cards, business cards. Well, there is now a solution to that problem. And it's located in this little needle right here. For those who are in the mood. We won't be doing any implants tonight, but they're quite popular. We've done that quite a lot in the biohacking community. By putting a little implant in my hand, about the size of a grain of rice, I've managed to replace all these things that I used to carry around. Membership in different stores, keys to padlocks, business card, put some memory on here, not as much as the real USB drive. The gym card, located in the hand, PIN code for unlocking the phone, badge to the office, some Bitcoin transactions, etc. So it's an interesting platform to explore. We don't know what is the future. I'll touch upon it, but we'll see what can be done. It's mostly about exploring and about loving, exploring tech. And these are mostly based on existing sort of readers that are already around us. But if you're a maker and interested in hardware, you can do a lot of things yourself. Such as, for example, one thing we've been working on, and I'd love to have some help on this because I didn't really finish it. It's about modding a gun so that you can lock it with a chip implant. I have all the hardware to do it. I took apart the little door lock that has the reader and the battery, and I have the gun, but I failed myself to put it together, so if anyone is willing to help later, it will be wonderful to do it with you guys, because I think this is a fantastic user scenario where you can personalize a weapon so that no one else can use it. Fortunately, we live in a peaceful country like Sweden, but there are a lot of countries where people have guns at home. Sorry. And you hear terrible stories about children shooting each other or parents or similar. And there are really ways to make that sure that that doesn't happen anymore. Okay, I'm going to round off. Juanjo, maybe you'll mention this. We host implant parties. That's a lot of fun. You bring some people together, you get implanted together. we jokingly say, hey, now we become digital siblings, right? Your birthday for humans 1.01, and you share the same sort of digital birthday. So it's a little bit fun. Next generation implants. There's some really cool implants waiting around the corner. Some companies working on this. Sorry about the green color there. Doesn't look very well. So encrypted implants, implants where you can ride public transportation. We've had a lot of meetings with SL, really working on trying to get them to have allow us to use the implants. And of course the whole dimension of health logging, using implants for monitoring your health. Huge potential. So anyway, be prepared. There will be cyborgs coming, probably quite a few already in this room. Now, see, now we have a little hack here. We're going to give you a brief virtual tour of the lab downstairs. So now, are we all ready with all the tech here?
What do you think?
I would expect that to be the case in this crowd, but thanks to...
We shall see. I feel like 50-50 chance.
There was... in one of the Stockholm Tech Fest, Stockholm Tech events, there was a great quote. There was a lady on the panel who just had a baby, and she said to all the startup dudes in the audience, you know, guys, having a baby is a little bit like a startup. You always heard it the other way around, so I like the way she put it. I think you would agree. It works? Okay, take another minute. Meanwhile, guys, I want to tell you what this is. How many of you have seen this before? Okay, cool. So for the rest of you, this is it's a brain scanning device connected to cat ears. Okay, we're going live on Skype first. Sina, du får kuta ner nu så det inte blir loop.
Okay, here we go. Yes, it's working.
Yay!
Sorry, you can finish it.
No, but we're gonna go online with Sina.
Okay, great.
Great.
We need some video. We will in a second.
Okay, well, you sort out... Okay, I can't talk, so we'll do...
Turn on the video and then go out of here, because as long as you're in here, you're going to have the audio. Okay. We see you. I don't see you.
Do you even understand what's happening back there? Anyway, Sina is running down with the phone into the lab, so we're gonna follow. So this is like a thriller. He's running down the stairs. The music, yeah, exactly. Blair Witch Project, biohacker horror stories. Sina, are you with me? Yeah, good.
Do you hear me?
So you now reached 99 floors down, as if I counted right. Oh my goodness, the fire extinguisher is ready. Here we are, the Biohacker Lab.
Here's the lab.
Tell us, show us some stuff. Woo!
So, lab, we built that last year, and we started with the workshops just a couple of weeks ago. I can show you what we do in these workshops. Here we have the pipettes. Basically, we do 3 workshops. The first workshop, we show the basics of how to use a pipette, and it's these. And then you get to train up your pipetting technique, pipetting these food colors, very basic. We move on. In the second workshop, we teach you how to cultivate bacteria. Here we have cultivated some bacteria. I hope you see this.
Yeah, we see it, and this is Khaled's stuff, right?
Yeah, these are molds. We have taken this from the outside in the yard. Some funny looking stuff. We actually don't know really what it is, but it looks funny.
Can you hack it?
We can hack it. Actually, we have the equipment for hacking it. It's just right here. So the third workshop is actually we at least attempt to modify bacteria, and all you need to modify the DNA of bacteria, you have them here on this table. And we actually try to do that past Sunday. Unfortunately, we failed to get any results.
The new food.
No food.
Don't put your food in here, guys. Or
No food in here.
don't eat stuff
Sorry.
from this fridge. Yeah. Then you'll end up like
These
that
are
guy in
the-
the back. Yeah.
These are the bacteria where we should have seen some results of glowing E. coli bacteria, but we have nothing. If you're interested in creating glowing E. coli bacteria, we are doing a second attempt this weekend. You're always welcome to join if you would like. That's the basics of producing any biomolecule you want, like maybe milk or cotton, and insulin is produced with this basic technique.
What's that thing on the left beside the tubes there, Stina? What's that piece?
This is called a PCR machine. We use this to copy up DNA. And this specific machine is an open source machine. We buy it as a kit from the internet in the US. We receive it and we put it together ourselves.
Like an IKEA box, really. Yeah, but cooler.
Like IKEA for biotech. And this machine is used to copy up DNA. And then we analyze it in this little box that's called an electrophoresis box. This is also open source, but it's, as you probably can see, it's really easy to make yourself. You just need a laser cutter. Unfortunately, we wanted to do, actually we're more into the biology and then into the hardware right now.
But I think that timing was okay, because I think we saw some of the highlights. Hope he comes up. So anyway, there's some fantastic things you can do. There's a huge just hardware community for do-it-yourself experiments that is very interesting. You can get this stuff. These PCR machines, they used to cost $200,000 or 200,000 kronas. Now you can buy it for 400 krona. You can do PCR at home. It's really an interesting democratization of this tech, and it's fantastic to be part of. So do we have time for questions, or is it time for the next? Cool.
Black.
It's black. Okay. So ready for next. So
The computer crashed. But
okay, no worries. So anyway, I'll round off and then we'll bring up the next speaker. Brilliant. So if you want to try this later on, this is a bunch of sensors you put and that feels your brain, and these cat ears will move around because of what type of mind you're in, if you're focused or distracted. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm happy to give those away because I just got some new ones. So if someone is interested in hacking this brain equipment, definitely I'm happy to give 2 or 3 pieces to give to people who promise that we'll do something with them. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.